Greetings and welcome everyone to a journal club with authors from Oral Pathology 360. I hope you're having a nice day wherever in the world you are, and I hope yesterday's internet outage did not really affect you. We had a little tough time, but we are back on and we could manage to catch up with today's program. So, we meet once a month with Journal Club with authors, basically to bring you the latest and the most relevant articles and give you a chance to interact directly with the author, with one of the authors of these great articles. And today we have another one, and I will bring in with us the host of the program, Dr. Puyan Amini Shakib. Good morning, Dr. Puyan.
Hello, everyone. Mandana, do you have my voice? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes. Although I do think we lost Dr. Puyan. So, well, never mind. That is Dr. Puyan Amini Shakib. He is the host of the program. He is the mind, the brain behind this event entirely. And this is the fifth one we are having. And we have with us other guests today. Let me bring everyone in. I hope, Puyan, are you back? Yeah, okay. Yes, you can take over, please.
Yes, I think I'm back.
Yes, you are back.
Hello, everyone, again. I would like to welcome you all to the fifth interactive online journal club with the authors in association with Oral Pathology 360. And also, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Dr. Mandana for her kind support. And the title of the uh, the title of the journal club today is about adenoid ameloblastoma. It shares clinicopathologic, immunohistochemical, and molecular features with dentinogenic ghost cell tumor comparative analysis. And it's a great pleasure for us to host Professor Tiejun Li from Peking University. Thank you very much, Professor Lee, for accepting my
Thank you.
invitation.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Professor. And also, it's a great honor for us to host Professor Merva Soluk Tekkesin from Istanbul University. She kindly accepted my invitation to join this program. Thank you, Merva, for joining us.
Always pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome. And also, it's a pleasure to have Dr. Jiang from Peking University. She, I think, very well performed this interesting on this topic. Thank you, Dr. Zhu, for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Okay, our pleasure. And also, before getting started and watching the videos,
Right, let me jump in and mention that Dr. Merva wanted to have a few words with us, so I will just hand over to her and we'll just hear from her before we go on.
Okay, so I will take the verse. Again, hello everyone, and wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Um, Actually, it's my great pleasure to join this journal club. The topic is very novel and very excited, and I'm really great to discuss this topic with Professor Lee and Dr. Yang. I wish everyone a very pleasant hour. But before we start, just we have the two questions for you, just to understand what you think about this topic in general. So the first question was, have you ever been diagnosed with adenoid ameloblastoma? So I'm sure you have all seen this question on your screen, right,
Mm.
Mandana?
Yes, yes, they would have
Yeah.
seen it. Yes.
Okay. So the second question will be: do you think that the adenoid ameloblastoma is a subtype of ameloblastoma? This results a little bit help us our discussion. So just write your answer yes or no. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Merva. I'll just mention to everyone. So, the first question, the first poll is now live, and you will see it in your chat. So, I will leave it on for a few more minutes. And then, after that, while going on through the second video, through the first video, I will put on the second poll because the system is such that we have to stop one before we can put on the next one. So, I will appreciate everybody finishing with the answers right now to the first poll. There's already showing 54% saying no. But anyway, please complete it.
Mm.
And during the first presentation, keep an eye out for the second question. Uh, Back to you, Dr. Puyan.
Okay. Okay. And I think we are ready for the first video to start with the article.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So let's go and
Thank
play
you.
the video. See you all back in a bit.
Thank you. Hello, everyone watching our program online. My name is Jiang, and I am a second-year PhD candidate in oral pathology at Peking University School and Hospital of Stomatology. I'm delighted and honored to be here to share our work with you. This presentation will discuss our original article titled Adenoid Ameloblastoma Shares Clinical Pathologic, Immunohistochemical, and Molecular Features with Dentinogenic Ghost Cell Tumor, a comparative analysis, written by Professor Li and me. Next, I will present our findings in 4 parts: introduction, materials and methods, results and conclusions. Let's start with the introduction. Before 2015, adenoid ameloblastoma was reported in case studies. In 2015, Loyola and his colleagues reported 5 cases, shown in the red box below, and reviewed 11 cases shown in the red box above, revealing a recurrence rate of 71.4%, with about half of the patients suffering multiple recurrences. They suggested that adenoid ameloblastoma might be a more aggressive subtype of ameloblastoma. In 2022, Bastos and his colleagues reported 9 cases. Table 1 summarizes the clinical pathological data and molecular status of each of the 11 samples from 9 patients included in the final analysis. 6 of the 11 samples tested positive for CTNB1 mutation. Therefore, tumors of 4 of the 9 patients harbored exon 3 CTNB1 mutation, but they do not detect BRAF or KRAS mutations in any sample. They also found nuclear beta-catenin immunoexpression in all cases, except 1. The photomicrographs show the focal nuclear expression of beta-catenin in both wild-type upper panel and mutation-positive bottom panel adenoid ameloblastoma cases. Based on these findings, the 2022 fifth edition of the WHO classification of head and neck tumors listed adenoid ameloblastoma AA as a unique entity among odontogenic tumors. AA is characterized by a partly cribriform arrangement of basal ameloblastoma-like cells with reversed nuclear polarity. Basal cells may be multi-layered, transitioning to a round or ovoid morphology. Duct-like structures formed by cuboid to columnar cells, some containing mucin, and focal rolled cellular condensations are present. Clear cells are associated with dentinoid, and ghost cells are seen in some cases. Diagnostic features for AA include conventional ameloblastoma-like epithelium, duct-like structures, cribriform architecture, and cellular condensations such as morels or rows. Dentinoid, clear cells, and focal ghost cell keratinization are desirable diagnostic criteria for AA. Following the new classification, researchers have noted similarities between this new tumor and dentinogenic ghost cell tumor (DGCT), leading to comparative studies. These studies have found that DGCT shares clinical similarities with AA in age, sex, site, and prognosis. The presence of adenoid morphology in several DGCT cases further demonstrates that DGCT shares histologic features with AA. Another study also confirmed overlapping histologic characteristics, including AA-like features, ghost cells, and dentinoid. The existence of mixed tumors that contain a combination of AA and DGCT histopathologic patterns has been reported, which was shown in the table, leading to consideration for their reclassification. Additionally, DGCT shares immunoexpression and molecular features with AA, including positive nuclear beta-catenin and gene mutations in the Wnt pathway, and they did not detect CTNB1 mutations in any sample. Two more articles provided extra evidence of immunoexpression and molecular features for the similarity between DGCT and AA. In addition, conventional ameloblastoma (AM) and adenomatoid odontogenic tumor (AOT) are other histopathological differential diagnoses for AA, with AM resembling AA's histological epithelial features and AOT resembling its adenoid elements. However, AA has been found to have CTNB1 hotspot mutations and nuclear beta-catenin accumulation, which are not present in AM or AOT. But the evidence for these conclusions is insufficient due to the small number of reported cases. The scientific questions posed by this study are adenoid ameloblastoma a neglected variant of ameloblastoma or a separate entity? And what is the relationship between adenoid ameloblastoma and odontogenic host cell tumor? The findings of this study can contribute to a better understanding and distinguishing of AA from other similar tumors, ultimately improving diagnosis and treatment outcomes.
Okay, great presentation. Thank you, Dr. Zhu. And let's go to the discussion panel immediately. Let's get started with Professor Li at the beginning. Do you have any comment or introduction to the adenoid ameloblastoma? I know that you have a great experience with this lesion. I will be grateful if you share your experience with us, Dr. Li.
Okay, thank you, Panyang. Uh, First, uh, let me express my gratitude for the invitation. I want to say hello to everyone from Beijing. Now we are in the it's 1 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hope everything is well. Thank you for the question. I think basically after the received the new version of WHO classification, we immediately recognize that the basically the major uh, changes or the major new items that is newly described in this new classification is the adenoameloblastoma, which is recognized as one subtype of ameloblastoma. We do appreciate the fact that there are a lot of histologic descriptions for the tumor uh, have been somewhat sort of emphasized, which we didn't really appreciate it before. Although when after we review some of our cases, they do exist in some of the tumors that we categories, which we felt that it's very, very worthwhile to re-recognize, to retrieve all our related cases and to review their histology and try to uh, separate this subtype uh, based on the new WHO classification for adenoameloblastoma, in short AA. Um, so we conducted the study and the paper that published, which has been the subject of today's talk. Uh, we do uh, recognize that there are a lot of features, which is the overlapping features between
Mhm.
AA and the so-called dentinogenic ghost cell tumor, uh, DGCT. Uh,
Mhm.
I think maybe as the talks goes on, we will talk more about
Mhm.
their similarities. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Professor. And Professor Merva, let's start discussion with you, focusing on the microscopic features we can use to differentiate an adenoid ameloblastoma from conventional ameloblastoma. Which one is more important for the pathologist to differentiate a new introduced adenoid ameloblastoma from a conventional ameloblastoma?
Thank you, Priyan, for the question. And the Professor Lee explained very well, to start to explain very well with this extinct entity. In my experience, and you and me also write a paper together about this, and we just focus on, especially for the histopathological approach, the cribriform architectures and the epithelial morals,
Mm,
epithelial plaques. In my experience, the most important one, but of course, we can see this structure in other odontogenic tumors. But what I do in my routine to make the diagnosis, I try to see this structure and this pattern largely of the most size of the lesions, not the small
mhm.
percentage of this. For example, for the ghost cells, I just want to
Yeah,
see the very small percentage of the ghost cells. If I see a loss of the ghost cells, loss of the dentinoid materials, my approach go to the DCT, yeah, dentogenic ghost cells tumor. I'm sure we will discuss later, but the most important ones for me is this. Just I want to ask a quick question, Professor Lee. According to our results, Dr. Lee, we just see that the most of the audience just will listen now. They haven't give the diagnosis of adenoid ameloblastoma. It's persons almost 60%. So do you think that it is? Do you think that the adenoid ameloblastoma is really rare entity, or the awareness of this entity still low? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's very relatively rare. If we are talking about it's a subtype of ameloblastoma, yeah, usually there are a lot of uh, take our department for example. Uh, uh, we would probably have somewhere around around 100 cases of glioblastoma, but maybe uh, 5 cases uh, relative. I mean, if proportionally, I don't really do the calculation yet, but we do find that it's a pretty rare subtype.
Mhm.
Thank you. Puyan, maybe we can discuss the second question after the second part, right?
Okay, okay, I do agree. And let me ask a question from Dr. Zhu about collecting the specimens. Did you gather all of your adenoid ameloblastoma from one center or several center around around China?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, yeah. This is only from our own department, Peking
Okay,
University
okay,
School of Stomatology. Thank you.
okay.
Mm.
And how long did you review your archive to gather
Uh,
all of this?
yeah, I will. Yeah, Jiang, Jiang. Where is the 10 years from now?
Could
Or?
you turn on your? Could you unmute Dr. Jiang? You're mute.
Sorry. I forgot to turn the microphone. Uh,
I will retrieve the last 10 years or
uh, let me 15 years. 15
15
years.
years. Last
Yeah.
15
Okay.
years of attack. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very great. And another question, I think you will collect these cases and you wisely include adenomatoid odontogenic tumor and also ameloblastoma in your study and compare them with dentinogenic ghost cell tumor, and it's a wise decision. And also another important advantage of your paper is including several immunohistochemical biomarkers, including cytocratin 7, cytocratin 19, and also beta catenin. And also, you include cytogenetic study of your cases, especially BRAF mutation. It is very important to detect to differentiate an adenoid ameloblastoma from the conventional ameloblastoma. And Professor Lee, if you want to suggest immunohistochemical panel for the pathologist to differentiate adenoid ameloblastoma from conventional ameloblastoma or other odontogenic tumors, which biomarker you select or emphasize on to include in our immunohistochemical panel?
Thank you. It's a interesting question. You know, as you know, that odontogenic tumors have, I mean, the immunohistochemical profile for odontogenic tumor is quite overlapping. It's very difficult to actually using several markers to identify or to make sure that this is the tumor. But in our study, we do find a marker which is very interesting. It's surprisingly to me that the keratin 7, which is supposed to be a glandular keratin marker, did express strongly in AA and in most of the cases, yeah, and GACT, and also most cases in AOT, the adenoid odontogenic tumor.
Okay.
But in conventional ameloblastoma, but only we only use 10 cases as control, uh, as
Mhm.
comparison. Yeah? So, but they are negative for keratin 7. So it's and we do re-evaluated this phenomena. We find that the epithelial expressing keratin
Mhm.
7 are the areas where they are closely related to the dentinoid areas, or it's the area where you show the inductive change. The
Okay.
you know the and this is also true in some areas in the AOT where you have the rosette structures, uh, which is quite surprising to me when Dr. Jiang showed me the results. I think this is probably one area where we can do more cases. And Jiang, have you ever anything to add for the
Yeah,
immunocytochemical part?
thank you.
Beta catenin
Uh, the beta-catenin expression in adenoid ameloblastoma and the DGCT are all positive, but in other tumors, other two can but in AOT and the conventional
conventional ameloblastoma. Mhm.
ameloblastoma, the beta-catenin expression is negative. Uh, Negative in nuclear, but they can express in the cytomembrane or the cytoplasm. Uh,
Mhm.
cytoplasm. Yeah.
Okay,
I,
great, great. And I remember that Professor Merva, that you in our joint publication that you emphasized on beta catenin. Could you please share your experience about beta catenin, and also Professor Li well explained about the importance of cytocratin 7 to differentiate adenoid ameloblastoma from other odontogenic tumors. Could you please, Professor Merva, let us know about your experience?
Yeah, actually, I do believe that the immunohistochemistry is not so help to distinguish between the odontogenic tumors. I think we are all agree with that. But we have some, of course, some clue to get the exact diagnosis with the histopathological features. Always histopathological features is the king, and then the clinical features. Then maybe we have to make some immunohistochemistry just to help our diagnosis. Yes, as the Dr. Poyan said that we make also some immunochemistry in our paper, but also we have some differences between the all cases in terms of the negativity and positive cases. But what we see, calritinin is completely negative in all cases. So maybe it should be a important clue. But as I said at the beginning, I never trust the immunohistochemistry alone. So if we have a chance, yes, molecular studies is very well, and we need that. And really hearty congratulations for your paper. It's really great and show us very a distinct clue if it is a distinct entity or a subtype or anything else. So we need really good molecular studies instead of immunohistochemistry.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And as the last question in this section, Professor Merva, can I ask you about the behavior? One of our audience I think Surya Vamshi asked us about the behavior of the adenoid ameloblastoma. What do you think about it comparing with the conventional ameloblastoma, the radiographic feature or the behavior of adenoid ameloblastoma?
Thanks for the question. Actually, we have one adenoid ameloblastoma cases recurred after 1 years, but because of the first surgery is conservative surgery, and after 1 year and it's recur, but I haven't got so many cases to share that to say that they are different from the conventional ameloblastoma. It looks like it's very similar in terms of the clinical behavior in my experience. Professor Lee?
Yeah, it's quite a important question. I think when we do the classifications, we do if we want to rename a tumor, we do want to see whether it behaves differently. Um, in our case, we uh, uh, we have it's 10 out of 13 cases from
Mhm.
our group recurred. So it's a very high recurrence rate, which is quite similar to that of DGCT, uh, uh, which is another a fact that we appreciated later when we uh, know that the WHO classification back then. Um, I think uh, the reason for the high recurrence rate, the explanation for that, I think we need to be cautious. Uh, uh, Number one is that all these cases, when we before they were categorized as a subtype or a new entity, our understanding of the tumors is limited, and therefore the information that we give to the surgeon then is pretty mixed. As you know, that the recurrence rate for ameloblastoma is very much related to the way you treated the patient. So we do very cautious about our results, but it do shows at least it's quite similar to ameloblastoma, if not more aggressive.
Yes. Yes. Great. Thank you. And we have several questions, and we will postpone it to the second discussion panel after our second presentation.
Okay.
Dr. Mandana, we are ready for the second videos.
Second is the materials and methods. In this study, we conducted quantitative histologic and immunohistochemical analysis, molecular profiling using Sanger sequencing, and statistical analysis of accumulated clinical data to compare characteristics between AA and DGCT. We also retrieved cases of AOT and AMs for comparative purposes to clarify the features of these histologic mimics. Third is the results. Table 1 summarizes the clinical data from the 13 AAs included in this study. The patient's age ranged from 17 to 51 years, with a male to female ratio of 5.5 to 1. The mandible was the most frequently affected site. The duration of symptoms ranged from 2 months to 168 months, with a median of 73 months. About half of the patients, 6 of 13, underwent segmental or totally maxillectomy or mandibulectomy, and 7 patients underwent curettage. Follow-up data were available for all patients, ranging from 8 months to 192 months, with a median of 94 months. Local recurrence after initial treatment occurred in 10 cases, with the number of recurrences ranging from 1 to 6. Table 1 also summarizes the clinical data from the 14 DGCT cases included in this study. The patients included 9 males and 5 females, with an age range of 9 to 61 years. The tumors were mainly located in maxilla, with 5 cases occurring in the mandible. The duration of symptoms ranged from 5 months to 288 months, with a median of 89 months. 6 patients underwent curettage and 8 of 14 were treated with totally maxillectomy or mandibulectomy. 6 patients are alive with no evidence of diseases after initial curettage. Follow-up data were available for 13 patients ranging from 7 to 296 months, with a median of 85 months. Local recurrence after initial treatment occurred in 8 cases, with the number of recurrences ranging from 1 to 5. The cumulative probabilities of recurrence were not statistically significant between AA and DGCT, either in curettage groups or osteotomy groups. Microscopic examination revealed some overlap in histology between these two entities, including duct-like structure, cribriform architecture, and cellular condensations. Dentinoid and ghost cells were also observed. All AAs and DGCTs met the essential diagnostic features outlined in the latest WHO classification. The so-called AA cases exhibited a duct-like or cribriform phenotype with cellular condensations or morals, whereas DGCT cases were characterized by conventional ameloblastoma-like epithelium with varying proportion of ghost cells and dentinoid. Representative histologic images of each type are presented in the figure. All the so-called AAs demonstrated the duct-like or cribriform structures with a proportion from 10% to 100%. Notably, 5 cases in DGCT showed varying proportions of duct-like or cribriform structures, ranging from 5% to 20%. Except for 4 AA cases, all cases studied displayed varying amounts of ghost cells, and except for 1 AA case, all cases showed varying amounts of dentinoid. Interestingly, the presence of epithelial pores or morals, which is one of the essential diagnostic criteria for AA, also appeared in large quantities in DGCT. Adenoid Ameloblastoma shares immunohistochemical features with dentinogenic ghost cell tumor. Immunostaining was performed on a total of 55 samples, comprising of 13 AAs, 14 DGCTs, 10 AOTs, and 18 conventional AMs. CK5 or 6 overexpression was detected in all cases, while CK20 overexpression was not observed. The diagnostic utilities of cytokeratin expressions in differentiating AAs from other mimics were analyzed and presented in Table 3. Among the cytokeratins, CK8 or 18 was the only marker that exhibits a statistically significant difference between DGCTs and AAs, with DGCTs showing a higher portion of CK8 or 18 overexpression. High proportions of CK14 and CK19 overexpression were observed in both DGCTs and AAs, while the positive rate of CK10 or 13 and CK8 was low. The overexpression of CK7 was 54%, 21%, and 40% in so-called AAs, DGCTs, and ALTs, respectively, whereas the positive rate for conventional AMs was only 6%. All samples of so-called AAs and DGCTs showed focal positive nuclear immunoexpression of beta-catenin, whereas all ALTs and conventional AMs showed only cytoplasmic or cytomembrane expression. The Ki-67 index was no more than 3% in all ALTs, whereas it ranged from 2% to 15% in so-called AAs, DGCTs, and conventional AMs. Here we can clearly see that adenoid ameloblastoma shares immunohistochemical features with dentinogenic ghost cell tumor. Notably, the overexpression for CK7 in AAs was associated with the diffusing dentinoid materials. As shown in the figure, CK7 is highly expressed around the dentinoid material, whereas CK7 is not expressed in areas without dentinoid material. The molecular mutation profiles of AA and DGCT are similar, despite consistent nuclear beta-catenin accumulation in so-called AA and DGCT. Only one so-called AA sample tested positive for CTNBY mutation. The other three tumors were found to be wild-type for CTNBY mutation. Notably, BRAF mutation was detected in 2 out of 13 AAs, 1 out of 15 DGCTs, and 2 out of 11 ALTs. However, 17 out of 18 conventional AMs were found to harbor BRAF mutation. Additionally, 7 out of the 11 cases in ALTs that were tested positive for KRAS mutation, specifically at codon 12. None of the other 3 tumors were found to harbor KRAS mutations. Hence, adenoid ameloblastoma shares molecular features with dentinogenic ghost cell tumor. Finally, the conclusion. Through our comprehensive analysis, the study revealed that the so-called AAs shares similar prognostic, immunohistochemical, and molecular features with DGCTs. Therefore, AA should not be considered a distinct entity solely based on the presence of rows or morals and cribriform or duct-like structures. This finding suggests that the so-called AA could be interpreted as a positive variation of adenoid differentiation in DGCTs, but without significant relevance to tumor behavior. That's all. Thanks so much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much again, Dr. Zhu, for your nice presentation. And let's quickly start with the second poll, Merva. It seems that the most participants believes that it is better to consider adenoid ameloblastoma as a subtype of conventional ameloblastoma. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I do not agree with this. I also think that it's not a subtype of the ameloblastoma, actually. And the very nice presentation just made, Dr. Ryan. Thank you so much for nice presentation. And it's also um, obviously show that it may be related with the dentogenic ghost cell tumor, but not conventional ameloblastoma, according to the what we have now in the literatures. So I don't think it's a subtype of the ameloblastoma. So we will see, but we need more molecular studies and the more cases to answer this question exactly. But that's my opinion.
Okay, great. Let me share this question with Professor Lee. And do you agree with considering adenoid ameloblastoma as a subtype of conventional ameloblastoma, or you believe that they are different entities?
Yeah, I agree with Professor Merva on the fact that I don't think this is a very unique odontogenic tumor. Shares some similarities to conventional medulloblastoma, but they must be separated from conventional medulloblastoma. Um, the future work that we all colleagues around the world need to contribute to this is whether it is a subtype of medulloblastoma or it is a subtype or it's a subtype uh, of DGCT. At the moment that the data that we have, it's we favor the later assumption, which indeed when we do collect our cases, we do find it sometimes difficult to differentiate AA from DGCT according to the present WHO criteria, because there are some ambiguities uh, even within the same classification. Uh, but I think the cribriform epithelial structure, a duct-like structure, and maybe the lack or the lack of ghost cells are probably the more sort of helpful to diagnose AA, adenoid ameloblastoma, at the moment. So, but we're not so sure. Even if that we separated our cases into different categories, but we do felt that there are some ambiguous cases where there may be some uh, mixture of each other. But it's certainly worthwhile to conduct more studies, particularly for molecular analysis. Uh, at the moment, we find that the mutation of BRAF is a good marker for conventional medulloblastoma, for example, which is not as common. They are not. They were detected not as common as conventional lymphoma in AA and in DGCT. So this is at the moment what we can offer.
Okay, great. I do agree with you that it seems that we should consider that adenoid ameloblastoma as a separate entity. And let me share a question from Dr. Nandini. Thank you, Dr. Nandini, for joining us. Let me ask this question from Professor Merva. What is there any? I think she means that is there any cutoff or for the production of dentinoid material to call a entity dentinogenic ghost cell tumor, or she believes that when we detect any dentinoid material, we shouldn't call the lesion as the ameloblastoma. It means that if there is any ameloblastoma with production of dentinoid material.
Okay. Thanks for the question. Great question. Actually, in my experience again, I haven't seen any dentinoid material in the conventional ameloblastoma. For the AA, what I suggest actually, if you see the loss of the dentinoid materials, loss of the ghost cells, please continue with the dentinogenic ghost cell tumor diagnosis. For the AI, we will see a little dentinoid material just very close to epithelial islands and a very small percentage of the ghost cells if we see. We have the 3 or 4 cases for the adenoid ameloblastoma. Only 2 of them have some small ghost cells, and one of them just have the dentinoid materials, very small part. So I can't say the percentage, but under the microscope, if you see a very nicely dentinoid, very nicely ghost cells, please do not continue with the AA diagnosis. Continue with the dentogenic ghost cell tumor.
Mhm.
I agree. Yes.
Okay, great. Professor Lee, do you have any comment
Yeah.
on the formation of dentinoid material in odontogenic tumors?
Yeah, I agree completely with Professor Merva. I think on the fact that yeah, dentinoid material. When we talk about that structure in odontogenic tumors, which indicate that there are inductions, the epithelial and the mesenchymal inductions. It's mimicking the tooth development stage. Yeah. So in fact, you never seen the dentin tubes, even though that we call it dentinoid, but it basically it's just the hyalinized area where you have the which in closely related to the epithelium. So it's a close relationship between epithelium and the hyalinized areas of mesenchymal area. This is mimicking the dentinogenic processes during the tooth development, but you never see dentinoid. So, so the question then came back to whether or not in ameloblastoma do we see any cases showing an inductive change, the phenomena of induction. Yes, we do see some cases they show uh, the induction, even though that we for the definition for ameloblastoma is that there is no dental hard tissue formation in ameloblastoma. Yeah, but some inductive phenomena where you can actually see if you sample more cases. But another thing I agree with Professor Merva is that if you see nicely the cases which is consistent with the diagnosis of DGCT, you just call it DGCT. But where cases where you have doubt that maybe only very rare or patchy or no presence of ghost cells and the cribriform structure, epithelial structure is very prominent, then you started to thinking of AA.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And because of time shortage, we have to skip some question, and I have to share the most relevant question with the experts at the panel. I would like to thank Professor Hill for joining us, and he will explain that the largest collection of the studies reported dentinogenic ghost cell tumor is to be found in Copenhagen. Professor Fien Uh, I'm sure that it will be very interesting paper. I recommend the participant to follow this proposal from Professor Hill and review this article. And also, I would like to share a question from Dr. Akshay. The question is about that. Is there any peripheral variant of adenoid ameloblastoma? Professor Lee, have you ever seen a peripheral variant of adenoid ameloblastoma in your experience or case series?
Peripheral form,
Peripheral, yes, soft tissue type.
extraosseous, yeah. Penyang, can
Sorry.
you repeat the question?
Yes.
Peripheral.
The question is yes.
You mean peripheral
Have you ever
ameloblastoma?
seen peripheral type of adenoid ameloblastoma?
Extraosseous, yeah. You mean extraosseous?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. We do. We do
Okay.
have some cases of peripheral type of ameloblastoma. They occur in gingiva, in gingiva tissue, with no or very slight involvement with the jaw bones. Uh, but sometimes we do find that we do have a case which is quite interesting. Is that in areas where you see you do it do show ameloblastoma like differentiation, but mostly basaloid, a lot of basaloid areas.
Okay.
We we have put some descriptions under the report to caution usually the peripheral ameloblastoma is completely benign, yeah, according to the literature. But in that particular case, we do put the description to caution the surgeons or to give to alert the surgeons for a close follow up.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor. And Professor Merva, do you have any experience with the peripheral ameloblastoma in soft tissue?
No, no, I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen yet.
Okay, okay, great. Because of time shortage, I think we have time for sharing just one question. Um, we have a question about the differentiation of the adenoid ameloblastoma again from the dentigenic ghost cell tumor. I think the experts well explained about the differentiation of these tumors. And additionally, we have a question from Mahadevi. I think I wish I have to correctly pronounce the name. That differentiation between the conventional ameloblastoma and adenoid ameloblastoma that the experts of the panel well explained about the importance of the morphologic features and additionally the immunohistochemical features. And also, as the last question, let me ask Professor Lee about the most important mutation status of the adenoid ameloblastoma. You well assess the cases in your paper for BRAF mutation, KRAS mutation, and also CTNNB1 mutation. If you would like to offer to propose the most relevant and the most diagnostic mutation assessment for the pathologist, which one do you suggest? Which one of the mutation status of the adenoid ameloblastoma are more important, do you think?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think it's a very hard one. Um, According to the literature, CTNNB1 is supposed to be uh, present in a considerable number of cases in AA. According to our review of literature, is somewhere around 30 or 50, 30 or 40% of the cases show CTNB1 mutation. Whereas in our case, which is very rare, we only detect one mutation. Um, but having said that, we need to repeat or but appears to me that
Sorry,
CTNNB1
I think, yes.
now it's okay.
Yes, you are back.
You hear me? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you are back.
CTNNB1, the presence of CTNNB1 in our case is pretty rare. But we need to repeat or to do more cases to emphasize that. But for BRAF, which is very common in conventional medulloblastoma, uh, but we basically using that as a routine test for medulloblastoma cases uh, because it's over, I think somewhere over 90% or 95% are showing BRAF hotspot mutation. But in AA, both in AA and in DGCT, there are only about 10% of cases have shown shown BRAF mutation. I think this is probably the two genes that we are or we hope that our audience, our colleagues from around the world will do more to, and also as one of your audience suggested that we only used material from our own department. So it's the multi-central verification is very much needed in the future, I think.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Professor Merva, we have two quick questions. What do you think about at the first? What do you think about the mutational status, KRAS, BRAF, or CTNNB1 mutation, or other mutational status of adenoid ameloblastoma? Which one is more important to make a definite diagnosis?
Yeah, Professor Lee explained extremely well and perfect. So no words to add it. I completely agree with Professor Lee. Maybe just what we know here very distinctly. BRAF is always almost most majority of the cases is negative. So that's very important to distinguish between the conventional ameloblastoma and the others between the yes really looks like at this point really looks like a very close relationship with the dentogenic ghost cell tumor, but we will need some more studies. Again, Professor Lee said that we have some time to say this, which mutation is most important, but at least we can say that it's not BRAF. So I want to add lastly, sorry, Puyan, do you have another question? Or
Yes, a quick question. One of our participants asked about the granular cell change in adenoid ameloblastoma. Have you ever seen a granular cell change similar to what we sometimes see in conventional ameloblastoma? Have you ever seen in adenoid ameloblastoma granular cell change?
I haven't seen. I haven't seen.
No,
Mhm.
I haven't seen.
no,
Okay, great. Okay, and also Professor Lee, you haven't
no,
seen
no,
so far. Okay,
no.
great. Uh, Great, thank you. Do you have any comments,
Yeah,
Professor Merva?
just for the last words, I think we need to change the name of this entity. we should
Mm.
remove the ameloblastoma term at the end. I believe that the next classification, I think we need to change this term because it's confusing. Most of the around the world pathologists, they confuse when you see the ameloblastoma. We just try to understand, or we just think that it's very closely related with the ameloblastoma. So at the end of the old paper, also we Puyan and me suggest that we have to change this name. The next classification, at least we don't use the ameloblastoma. Maybe we can use the adenoid ameloblastic odontogenic tumor, but not ameloblastoma. I don't know what you think about it, Professor Lee, but my last two
Yeah,
cents.
yeah,
Great
yeah. I
suggestion.
agree.
And
I agree.
do you have any comment, Professor? Please, do you have any comment? Yes, Professor Lee, do you have any comment to wrap up the
Yes, I
meeting?
agree. Yes, yes. I think it's pretty mature at this moment to say that this is certainly a variant of a Merva uh, uh, because due to the data that we have, probably after uh, uh, accumulating more cases and generating more cases, we will certainly better answer the question that we arise raised at the beginning of this lecture.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Lee, for sharing your time, and also Professor
Thank you.
Merva for sharing your time and knowledge with us. Thank you very much, Dr. Zhu, for your great presentation and your great study in collaboration with Professor Lee. And I would like to thank all audience for being with us in this journal club. I think it is the time of appreciation. Dr. Mandana, are you ready for sharing the? Thank you.
Yes. Let me also take a moment to say a very big and very grateful thanks to both Professor Lee and Professor
Sure.
Soluk Tekkesin and also Dr. Zhu. It was very interesting and I really appreciate the work done and the discussion. Also appreciate, of course, the audience for all their questions. And I promise to share that chat with both Professor Lee and Professor Merva so they can send you. I know we couldn't take all the questions. We'll try and get you the answers anyways. Yeah. Thank you. And of
Thank
course,
you.
thank you, Dr. Puyan. Yeah, it's up to you to share the certificates. You can, you can control the slides.
Yes, great. Thank you, Professor Lee, again for your
Thank you.
time and sharing your experience with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
It's very kind of you. And also, additionally, I would like to thank Professor Merva. I think the next. Thank you, Professor Ma. You always kindly support us to and share your experience with us. It's very kind of you, Professor Merva.
Thank you so much. Always pleasure with you and Dr. Mandana's invitation. As much I can, I will do my best because I really appreciate for Dr. Mandana for being to improve the oral pathology and medicine. So I really appreciate it. And to Puyan, we are always together in everywhere, and I'm very happy to support you. And the Professor Lee, always a big honor to share with you the session. And
Thank
the
you.
Dr. Jiang, thank you so much for your great presentation.
Thank you, Merva, Professor Merva. Thank you.
Appreciate, Merva. Thank you very much. And
Thank
also,
you.
Dr. Ju, thank you very much for your great presentation and providing this connection between the authors and the experts. Thank you very much. And the stage is yours, Dr. Mandana. And I appreciate your great support for providing such a brilliant discussion.
Always a pleasure and always great to have colleagues from around the world together on a stage. Nothing quite like it. And I do hope we can always create more and more collaborations and more openings. There is this one comment that was there from Professor Hiller that I think I should share here for everyone who is interested in doing work on these odontogenic conditions. Yes, so they have the, for anyone who is interested in the study, I think you can get in touch with the Africa group and you will be able to find the cases that you need. This is just for your information, of course. And again, thank you, everybody. And we will be meeting you again next month with the next journal club. I think Dr. Puyan already has it sort of set up, but sadly, please excuse me, I don't have the artwork ready today, thanks to yesterday's problems. And I think Puyan and I will take a minute to share with you about how to participate in our upcoming events. And thank you again, Professor Lee and Professor
Thank you.
Mahaba and Dr. Zhu. Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye
Have a
bye.
nice day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome. Wonderful having you all here. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Puyan, it's all yours.
Yes, I would like to invite all residents and also supervisors around the world to join this program. It's a great opportunity for all of us to share our experience with us, and we would like to improve the networking among the oral pathologists and head and neck pathologists around the world. And please follow us on Oral Pathology 360 Journal Club with authors. Please join us and apply for this opportunity, and we will provide this opportunity for all of you to have a direct discussion with the authors of the important papers in the literature. Thank you, Merva.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this. And just to remind everyone, that form has to be filled by the supervisor while giving names of two residents or postgraduates, as we call them in India, who are ready to take part. So, but we have already got the next team is already set in place for next month, and we already have the few subsequent ones also who have applied through the form, and we will be sharing with them, and we will be bringing them to you here on this platform. With that, let me again say thank you to everybody for being here, for your very wonderful questions. And of course, if you have not already done it, please hit the like before you leave, because that is how we get more promotion, by the content appearing more often in front of those who are searching for relevant topics. Also, if you have not subscribed as yet, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon. Of course, we will also see you on this Tuesday on OP Tuesdays with a session on tobacco cessation. Yes. Thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Puyal. See you
Yeah,
soon.
thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. See you all, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. It's Saturday. Yeah. Bye.